हेलो गाइस, दिस इज़ देवांश अगेन। आज हम फिर से डिस्कस करेंगे द 30 डेज चैलेंज की क्वेश्चंस को। विल स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट सम प्रॉब्लम्स which I find is easy but has some tricky part in it. Like if you try to optimize it, it gets trickier and it has quite a prerequisite and it has quite a prerequisite. Also, बहुत सारी चीज़ों का पता होना and it requires also a intuitive thought. So the first question which we will start with is overlapping problem. Oh, the canvas is too big. Okay. Yeah. The first problem we will start with is the overlapping rectangle and circle problem. The first problem from the Microsoft series. Okay. So this question, let's say if it is a number line for easy, hard, and this is mid. So this lies, if we go for the brute force, it is here. I can say it. And if we want to go to the optimized solution, it goes up till here. According to me, it lies in this range. If we try to optimize it, as we go to the optimized version, it increases. So we will first discuss the brute approach, and then we will try to optimize it. Okay, let's look at the problem. So here's our problem. You're given a circle represented as radius, x center, y center, and an axis aligned rectangle represented as x1, y1, x2, y2, where x1, y1 are the coordinates of the bottom left corner and x2, y2 are the coordinates of the top right corner. Okay. In the previous question, in the previous video, I discussed with you what is an axis aligned rectangle, right? An axis aligned rectangle is nothing much but a rectangle which has its sides parallel to the axes. For example, if the length of the rectangle is following the y-axis, the breadth must follow the x-axis. That means the length of the rectangle will always follow the y-axis and the breadth will always follow the x-axis. Basically, इसको ही हम axis aligned rectangle कहते हैं, and that's it. And it is also mentioned that bottom left and top right corner, again these two vertices are shared with us because these two vertices share every story. It gives us the distance between x1 and x2 and y1 and y2 also. So this helps. We only need two of these coordinates to get all the vertices of a rectangle. पूरी कुंडली हमें इस दोनों वर्टेक्स से पता चल जाती है रेक्टेंगल की. Okay, let's so return true if the circle and rectangle are overlapped, otherwise return false. In other words, check if any point x1 y1 that belongs to the circle and the rectangle at the same time. हमें ये पता चल जाता है इस एग्जांपल से कि हमें टेंजेंट्स को भी कंसिडर करना है. लाइक दिस पॉइंट ओनली टच एट द outside of, like this line is tangent to the circle and it only touches at only one point. This will also be considered as a overlapping case. So if the circle just touches the rectangle, it will also consider as a overlapping case. So when we see this problem, the first thing which comes to our mind is, okay, we know there has to be something equation, there has to be some equations. So why the brute force is nothing but use of that equation. In fact, the whole question revolves around that particular equation. What is that particular equation? The particular equation is x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square is less than equal to r square, where r is the radius. You guys have learned about this formula when you were in 11th, 12th and trying to prepare for JEE. We have learned about this formula in coordinate system, right? This formula is nothing but, it only says, let's say there is a circle and these are the points h comma k. So there must lie a point x. So let's say this coordinate is x comma y. So the distance between, and this is perpendicular to the axis, the distance of this side is h minus, sorry, x minus h, and the distance of this side is y minus k, and according to Pythagoras theorem, x minus h plus y minus k whole square equals to r square, that is the radius, which is the hypotenuse. So this formula helps in understanding not only the points which are lying on the surface of the rectangle, but also inside. Like if the distance x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square is less than r, that means that point is lying inside the circle. Let's say this is the point. So if this distance is less than r square, that means that point is lying inside the circle, right? That means that point is lying inside the circle. So this formula, x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square less than equal to r square, makes it quite easy for us to deduce that either that point is lying inside the circle or it's lying outside of it. So it's lying inside the rectangle or lying outside of it. Right? So quite easy, right? Okay, so we can we now just take all these points of this rectangle, like all these points, and check any of this point is lying in the circle. If any of this point, like these 2 points lie in the circle, that means that circle is overlapping with this one. If it's lie here, and this point are inside if this point and this point follow this formula, x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square, this means this circle is not here but here. That means it is overlapping. Done. The brute force is nothing but just use all this point. And why I can use all these points? The max distance between x2 can be 2 into 10 to the power 4, and max distance between yi to y2 is 2 into 10 to the power 4 again. But why I am saying that, so the brute force will go for 10 to the power 4 into 10 to the power 4, that is 10 to the power 8. This might fail for O of n square, but it gives TC. And I think there is a reason between that, is like there has to be a point, right? The radius, let's say it is far behind, it's far behind. So if that point is really far and no point is if let's say that point is really far, that is minus 10 to the power 4, and this point is somewhere here 0, and that point is 10 to the power 4. So the max distance between the rectangle can be only of 10 to the power 4, right? The max distance can be of 10 to the power 4, right? Or it can be like a very small rectangle, and then the max distance can be 2 into 10 to the power 4. So the max distance is of the max distance is of the value 10 to the power 4. So I think this n square solution, that's why this n square solution gives AC. So the n square solution is nothing but, let's say we check for all the points between x1 to x2, and then we check for all the points between y1 to y2. And hence, if we're checking for all these points, we are getting a point between, it's like the matrix. Let's say the rectangle is nothing but a matrix, and each block is a point. So this is xi, yi. So we are just traveling in this matrix and checking if this matrix also comes inside the circle. Each block is coming inside the circle. So we're taking all the points between y and y2 and checking if x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square is less than equal to r square, and hence return true. That's it. That is the brute solution. It is quite easy, right? It is quite easy. That's the brute solution. I don't need to code it for you because the pseudocode speaks for itself. So here is the brute force solution. It will give AC, obviously. It has given AC. Let me run it again for you. It will give AC. But it lies here. it takes around 96 ms and it is only faster than 22.5%. We don't want that, right? कभी कभार ये बहुत गलत वैल्यू देता है ग्राफ से कुछ क्वेश्चंस में, तो आप सेम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी के क्वेश्चन कर रहे हो, सेम तरीके से कर रहे हो, इट विल स्टिल शो यू दैट यू आर लाइंग बिहाइंड 72% पीपल. So don't judge on it, but let's consider, because we can see, but in this case we can see it is a brute solution. There can be a better solution, right? There can be a better solution for bigger range of x and y. It will fail. It will fail. Is there a solution that can work for anything? Like, no matter how big, let's say it is on the infinite and not infinite, let's say it's very big number, the distance between h and k is very big, but still we are able to check is there the center of the circle and the vertices of the rectangle, the distance between them is very big, but is there any way of checking that can this circle overlap, can this two figures overlap? Yes, there is a way. There is a way, and that way is nothing but geometry and vector algebra. When I say vector algebra, I don't mean hi-fi thing. I just mean the resultant vector and nothing else, the basics. So I am saying that, let's say this is the x coordinate. Sorry, this is the coordinate system. And here is our rectangle. This rectangle is consist of 4 lines. And the equations of each of these lines are, let's say the equation of this line is y equals, not y, but x. X equals to x1, and the equation of this line is x equals to x2. x1 and x2 are the values of x coordinates on these vertices. The equation of this line is y equals to y1, and similarly y equals to y2. Okay, so if we get a line, so if we have this line system, so for a circle to overlap, it should lie somewhere here. If it's lying inside, we can just check with the help of xy, xy. Okay. But what if it lies here? So if it's overlapping, it has to cut any of these 4 lines, and it should lie between any of these 2 vertices. It should cut any of these 2 lines, and it should lie between any of these 4 vertices. So we can check if the circle is lying between these vertices and it's cutting. If it's lying between these 2 vertices, the first point is okay, lying between vertices, and it's cutting also. Okay, that is also cool. So it's, if it is lying any of the 2 vertices and it's also cutting it, this means the circle is overlapping. Okay. So checking for all those things, so we need to check for all these lines here. Do we need to? I don't think so. We can just find the position of the circle, right? We just need to check with, if it is smaller than x1, then it means it is lying somewhere around here, and if it is greater than x1 and smaller than x2, then it means it's lying here, and if it's greater than x2, then it is it's lying here. Okay. So the circle needs to, so circle can be, the position of the circle can be defined. Okay, one problem is done. We don't need to check for every possible line. So that is a good way. Let's include one other thing. Let's say this is the point of the circle, and this is h, comma k, and this distance is dx, and this distance is dy. Then this distance, with the help of Pythagoras theorem and vector geometry, we can say this distance is nothing but dx square plus dy square. So for this point to lie here or inside it, isn't that means the distance between this plus dy square should be less than equal to r square? Hang on a second. We use this somewhere. And what is the value of dx? The value of dx is nothing but x minus h. this is the x coordinate comma some y coordinate, and this distance, the distance up to here is h, and distance up to here is x. So distance is x minus h, obviously. So that's distance dx equals to x minus h, and similarly dy equals to x minus y. Again the same property. Again the same property, that if that point is inside the circle, use. So this formula helps quite a lot, and this formula can be derived again using this vector geometry. So with the help of vector geometry and this formula, we can check that if this distance plus this distance is less than equal to r square, and if it is that, it means we have an overlapping situation. Let's check for another way that can concrete the solution. That will help you to concrete this solution. आपको अच्छे से समझ आ जाएगा इस तरीके से. Let's say it's touching here. So if it's touching here, it's not touching any of the other lines. Here there were two lines intersecting, so we're taking for x and y. इधर खाली एक पॉइंट है h कॉमा के. तो इधर हमें क्या चेक करना है, इस पॉइंट के बारे में, क्योंकि यहाँ पे कोई लाइन, सिर्फ हम लोग इस लाइन को टच कर रहे हैं. सो यहाँ पे कोई दो वर्टेक्स वो नहीं बना, जैसे यहाँ पे तो बन रहा था क्योंकि यहाँ पे हम लोग दो लाइंस को टच कर रहे थे, एक इसको, तो हम इसको निकाल लिए. लेकिन यहाँ पे तो सिर्फ एक ही है, तो जस्ट नीड टू फाइंड द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन दैट पॉइंट ना भाई, और क्या निकालना है, बस उसको निकाल लो. ओके, तो डिस्टेंस क्या है, वो वाई एक्सिस से कितना ऊपर है, दैट इज वाई माइनस के, शुड बी लेस देन इक्वल टू वाई एक्सिस से कितना ऊपर है, वाई एक्सिस से कितना ऊपर है, वाई माइनस के आर स्क्वायर. So this condition, and another condition would be here. इधर तो मुझे कुछ चेक ही नहीं करने का जरूरत है, ये तो ऑलरेडी इस रेक्टेंगल के अंदर है. तो अगर मुझे पता है कि इन पॉइंट्स के से छोटा है ये, तो ये ऑब्वियसली इसके अंदर ही ना होगा भाई. तो ये कंडीशन भी हो गई. सो दिस सोल्यूशन कैन बी डन विथ O1, राइट. हमें बस क्या चेक करना है कि अगर किसी लाइन को इंटरसेक्ट करता है, और वो लाइन कुछ और नहीं बल्कि एज ऑफ द रेक्टेंगल होनी चाहिए. अगर वो एज ऑफ द रेक्टेंगल पे खड़ा है, अगर मान लीजिए यहाँ पे है, तो वो एज पे नहीं है, हमें बस डिस्टेंस x डिस्टेंस खोजना होगा, दैट इज h माइनस एक्स. अगर यहाँ पे है तो y माइनस के, यहाँ पे है तब y माइनस के, यहाँ पे है फिर h माइनस एक्स, टू y टू माइनस के इन y1 x. बट अगर वो इन जगहों पे है तो हमें दोनों डिस्टेंस के संग चेक करना होगा. मेक सेंस, राइट. सो दिस इज अ solution, and this can be coded pretty easily, like it's a 4 to 5 line code and it can be coded easily. So this solution makes quite a lot of sense. Like previous वाला भी solution बहुत आसान था वो समझने में भी, इसमें थोड़ा दिक्कत होगा, क्योंकि मे बी आपको अगर दिक्कत हो तो फिर से रिवाइंड कर लीजिएगा, लेकिन सोल्यूशन यही है. और रात के 2 बज रहे हैं, मैं सोल्यूशन रिकॉर्ड कर रहा हूँ, तो प्लीज़ लाइक कर दीजिएगा. ओके, तो मैंने ये कैसे किया मैंने आपको बता दिया. अब बारी है इसे कोड करने का. ठीक है, तो हम इसे कोड करेंगे और हम बस ये चेक करेंगे कि h और k की पोजीशन क्या है, उस हिसाब से हम h माइनस एक्स और x y माइनस के को डिफाइन करेंगे. क्योंकि अगर खाली रेक्टेंगल के जस्ट ऊपर है, रेक्टेंगल के एजेस के पास नहीं है, तो हमें सिर्फ एक डिस्टेंस की ज़रूरत है. लेकिन अगर वो यहाँ पे है तो हमें दोनों डिस्टेंस निकालने पड़ेंगे, क्योंकि यहाँ पे दो लाइंस को वो कट कर सकता है. ओके, so let's code it. Okay, so let's code the solution. So I'm removing this optimized solution, brute force solution, and I will write a code for optimize one. Yes, confirm. So what were we doing? हम दो चीज़ कर रहे थे. हम पहले चेक कर रहे थे कि ये h और की लाई किधर कर रहा है. So okay, if h is greater than x1. So that distance x, we need to define that first. Okay, so let's say int dx comma dy. So if h is, if x1 is greater than h, then dx equals to x1. Obviously, if it is greater, that means we are talking about that particular edge. If it's greater, if it is greater, मतलब अगर हमारा सर्कल यहाँ है और x1 ग्रेटर है, तो हम लोग पक्का इस पोजीशन के बारे में ही बात कर रहे हैं, या फिर वो इधर भी हो सकती है. Else if x1 x2 is greater than h, then dx equals to x2. Okay, else dx equals to x center, and let's make it h for our सुविधा and k. तो then dx equals to h. हमने क्या बोला कि अगर वो इधर लाई कर रहा है then this is the distance. अगर वो यहाँ लाई कर रहा है तो हमें डिस्टेंस निकालने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. मैंने उसको h इसलिए किया क्योंकि h माइनस एच इक्वल्स टू ज़ीरो हो रहा है, क्योंकि ये डिस्टेंस तो ज़ीरो है ना भाई, ये तो हमें यूज़ ही नहीं करना है यहाँ पे कोई डिस्टेंस. तो h माइनस एच इक्वल्स टू ज़ीरो, और अगर वो इधर लाई कर रहा है तो हम x2 के संग चेक कर रहे हैं, तो हम उसको x2 दे दिए. इसको हटा देता हूँ पैरेंथेसिस को, क्योंकि उससे अच्छा लगेगा. एंड सिमिलरली इफ y1 is greater than k, then dy equals to y1. Else if y2 is greater than k, then dy equals to y2. Else dy equals to k. Let's give a space between them. Okay. So we got our dx and dx and dy. We just need to subtract it from the center of the circle and check if it is less than r square. That was it. So return h minus dx into h minus dx plus y minus dk dy, sorry, k minus dy into k minus dy less than equal to r into r. If that's true, then it will work. Let's run it. Okay, it failed. Okay, so the mistake which I was making is I was making x2 is greater than h, which is wrong, right? I shouldn't do that. Let me tell you why. Like, it's quite evident. I was doing that. I shouldn't do. So I was saying that if it is greater, if h here h, if h is greater than x1, so if it is h is smaller than x1, that it is smaller than x1, then I will consider my dx equals to h minus x, h minus x, sorry, x minus h. And if it is h1 is lying, h is lying here, that is center of the circle is lying here, that circle is lying here, then I have to check if x2 is smaller than h. If x2 is greater than h, then it should be h only, because it is bigger than this one and it is lying here. I have to what I'm saying is, if h is greater than x2, then it definitely means it's lying here, right? If it is greater than x2, then it is definitely means it's lying here. Okay. If it's lying here, then it's x2. Then dx equals to h minus x2. But if it's smaller than x2, that is x2 is greater, then dx equals to 0. That was the mistake I was making. Maybe because I was writing x1, that's why in order I wrote it. But this should work. This should give AC. Because this solution is not difficult. This solution is more intuitive, and it is a good intuitive solution. It is a good intuitive question, and it lets you think. सोचने में मजबूर कर देता है आपको कि आप कैसे करने वाले हैं. सो थोड़ा सा रिवीजन भी हो गया 11th-12th की, और ये बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट वाज आस्क्ड इन माइक्रोसॉफ्ट. ओके, सो दिस विल गिव AC, एंड दिस इज ओके. 99 ms से हम सीधा 2 ms पे आ गए, क्योंकि भाई हमने तो कुछ यूज़ ही नहीं किया है, कोई लूप नहीं है. तो यू कैन सी द विजुअल डिफरेंस बिटवीन O ऑफ 1. देखिए यहाँ पे अभी भी लिख रहा है कि 63.48% लोगों से हम स्लो है. बट ये धोखेबाज मीटर है. बट आप इस पर ध्यान दीजिए, क्योंकि टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी हमने एकदम कम कर दी. सो दिस वॉज द क्वेश्चन. सो यहाँ पे मैंने मिस्टेक कर दिया, तो मैं कंफ्यूज हो गया था कि मैंने क्या गलती किया. फिर मैंने वापस से, वही आप भी चेक करेंगे तो वापस से ट्राई रन करेंगे, समझ जाएंगे कि आपने क्या गलती की थी. तो आप, आशा करता हूँ कि आप समझ गए होंगे. आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड एवरीथिंग. क्योंकि ये क्वेश्चन मैं जिसको रेट किया, ईजी टू मीडियम लेवल के अंदर ही आती है. सो हम नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो सॉल्व करने वाले हैं वो होगा हु इज़ द विनर. एंड मैं इसके ऊपर अगला वीडियो बनाऊंगा, क्योंकि आप देख सकते हैं 2 बज गया रात की. तो मैं इसके ऊपर अगला वीडियो बनाऊंगा हु इज़ द विनर, और मैं इसको कल ही पोस्ट कर दूंगा. एंड उसके बाद हम हु इज़ द विनर एंड मिनिमम मूव्स टू इक्वल एरे एलिमेंट्स को एक संग करेंगे, और एनवेलप एंड डॉल्स को अलग से एक वीडियो में करूँगा, क्योंकि मेरे हिसाब से ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा ज़्यादा इंट्यूटिव है. इसके कुछ प्रीरिक्विजिट्स हैं जिसके बारे में भी मैं डिस्कस करूँगा. इसका ब्रूट ऑप्टिमाइज एंड मोस्ट ऑप्टिमाइज सोल्यूशन भी बताऊँगा कि कैसे हम इसको इतने अच्छे से करें कि इंटरव्यूअर भी समझ सके कि हमें अच्छी खासी नॉलेज है. तो उसके बाद हम करेंगे, हमने क्योंकि रैंडम पॉइंट्स कवर कर लिया है, और उसके बाद हम बुल्स एंड काउस करेंगे. एंड वी विल फॉलो द ऑर्डर. बुल्स एंड काउस, काउंटिंग नाइस सब एरेज को एक साथ करेंगे, क्योंकि अगर हम दो वीडियो एक साथ नहीं करेंगे तो इट विल बी अ वेरी लॉन्ग सीरीज. सो हम बुल्स एंड काउस एंड काउंटिंग नाइस सब एरेज को एक साथ डाल देंगे. एंड देन वी विल गो फॉर रिपीटेड DNS सीक्वेंस, सिटी विद स्मॉलेस्ट नंबर ऑफ थ्रेशोल्ड्स, एंड काउंट द नंबर ऑफ. आई वोंट अ ईजी क्वेश्चन, बिकॉज ईजी क्वेश्चंस में ईजी क्वेश्चंस के लिए आपको वीडियोस की ज़रूरत नहीं है मेरे हिसाब से, रीड कोड ईजी के लिए. Then I will go for max product of length of 2 palindromic sequences. So let's go. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. And please subscribe to the channel.